What about the civilians? What about those massacres?
I will come to that. And the authorities found bodies, civil administrative authorities found the bodies of the civilians who have perished. And the terrorists found the bodies of those terrorists that perished in the conflict. But the interesting fact is, these numbers differ, as Professor Rajiva said, and they differ not by marginal amounts, they differ in vast amounts. Let me just show you how different these figures could be. On October 22nd, 2009, United States State Department report placed the civilians dead at 7,700 plus. They just added a plus. And University Teachers for Human Rights, that's as you know, it's an organization that has been very vocally critical about the government's actions. And they placed the figure in December 13, 2009 between 20,000 to 40,000. I'm talking about the civilian deaths, since you were insisting on that. Keep the soldiers apart, they were there to die anyway. According to some. Then Mr. Gordon Weiss, who was the United Nations representative in Colombo during the height of conflict, he had very interesting figures. Being the person, the organization that he represented, counted the bodies to be 7,721 civilian deaths, and this report was never published. And they depended on the reports from the hospitals, the non-governmental organizations, which were very active until the very last moment, and the civilian authorities, and several other critical sources. But then this report never publicized. 7,721 did appear in the so-called panel of experts in the Darusman report. However, it was not published officially. Now the interesting point is, when he wrote the gauge, this 7,721 became 40,000. As Professor said, he has been very good at maths. His multiplication at least is good. He has multiplied it to 40,000. How? We don't know. Then, in the international ICT, on May 17th, the International Crisis Group, on May 13th, 2010, estimated the figure to be 35,000. Then UN panel of experts, 7,700 to 40,000. This 7,700 is from the UN figures of 7,721. So they were keeping the door open for that figure as well. They were not disputing it altogether. So they were having that door open. At the same time, they wanted to blow down the figure to the Tamil figure of 40,000 plus. No, not the Tamil, it's the diaspora, the separatist elements which are elsewhere. And then we had several other, I don't want to repeat, but let's take this figure. This is Frances Harrison. In July 2012, she says 147,000 have died. Ridiculous. Then in UN interim panel says in November 2012, 70,000 have perished. Now 40,000 became 70,000. There are so many. I can just give you the list. It's there outside. Also, I have left some documents you can pick up. However, the fact remains that these figures are being multiplied according to the agendas of the day. Agendas keep changing. Where international investigations are concerned, let me address that question that Carolin raised. In my opinion, international investigations are necessary in states that are unable to do their own investigations. Sri Lanka is not a failed state. Sri Lanka is a state which is capable of managing its own affairs. I will keep that.
Leonard, you've You were in Jaffna towards the latter end of the war, and then you came back into Muleke later. What was the differences you saw during the war in those zones, and then in the aftermath of the war?
Thank you, Savithri, for giving me this opportunity. I'm coming from the field, so I am a field commander. So, in my point of view, talking about this first topic on what you mentioned, is who counted this body? Yes, is again what I feel is a funny question. To tell you frankly, first of all, now they mentioned about the people, firstly the military and then the civilian and the various organizations, they counted the numbers. For me, I look at a problem in a positive angle. That is, mainly, ladies and gentlemen, past is past. We mustn't harp on the past, what we are going to gain. If that is so, we will have to drag everything deeper into what happened in the past. And who are these crusaders? Who are these emissaries, peace emissaries? How they came and what they did, atrocities. We go into that detail and come up one by one. And also, now, there is the question, who counted these bodies? What about just look back around the world, what's taking place? What's happening on the other countries? How many they have gone and asked this question? Who counted the bodies elsewhere? It may be Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, or any other countries. Who counted these bodies? Who is responsible? This is, gentlemen, this is our own country. And when you look at it again, we think positively, way forward. It's not that looking at behind. You can't resurrect the person who's dead, even if you harp on those. What you are going to do? Now, in fact, Carolin said, it's not only that death, rape, other all injustice caused. Yes, I'm asking the same question. Ask from the other countries also. And come back. Come clean. If you are clean, you are also clean. So this is what I'm asking from you all. Justification. Everywhere. But in this forum, I won't tell you anything more than this, because this is what first we must question this. How? Before you question the other. If you try to point a finger, there are three. Again, few.
So, Carolin, you were trying to...
Yes, I'd like to say a few things, I think three. The first one is speaking both as a German, coming from a country that has caused great suffering and havoc in many European countries during the last century, has committed horrendous crimes. Being born into a generation that still feels guilty, collectively guilty, for the crimes my society has committed. And as a war reporter, let me say the following. The past is never past. The war is... over when the war is over. It's just not. It continues to harm the people who have lived through the war. It's never over. If you say and you claim you want to think positive, you want to think about the future, there is no future without coming to terms with those crimes one has committed in the past. There just is no reconciliation without truth. There's no reconciliation without justice. There's no reconciliation without knowledge. And it's not a question about who